Donald Trump and the storied mugshot. Now, look, I'm still having fun with this. Perhaps I just have a little bit too much lib in my bones. But I got to admit, it was pretty great to see him and what he went with. You know, we didn't know if he was going to go with the smirk or the beaming, kind of mocking smile. Instead, according to his aides, he was trying to channel Churchill with this. I get like Revenge of the Sith energy, you know, when Hayden Christensen was trying to act really intensely in the third prequel movie, and he just did the scowl the whole time. And when he's going to the dark side, that's how you know. So that's what the energy I get from this. Let's put this up on the screen. Yeah, there he is.
I think it looks like he's trying not to cry.
His eyes are very red.
But the eyebrow cocking is almost like it's almost like rock level. He's sort of like can't tell if it's like ironic or not.
I mean, I think he wanted to look tough.
Yeah.
It says never surrender after he surrendered to authorities.
Never surrender upon literally surrendering.
DonaldJTrump.com. Donate to my legal defense, please. That's why he posted on Twitter for the first time since January 8th, since his account was locked.
There's a lot of Republicans that are saying, you know, this is exactly, you shouldn't have done this. Don't let him get in his zone. He's really going to go off now that you did this. This is exactly where he wants us. I just say, like, all that money that could be going to Republican primaries, yes, send that to this guy's legal defense. I'm cool with that.
It is a really fascinating moment in American history when someone's existential dread about going to prison is completely intertwined with a political campaign. It seems also like the lawyers and the campaign advisors, it's just one big happy family there, which presents just, you know, a bunch of different ethical questions, but let's put that aside for right now. There he is, former president of the United States, Donald Trump, booked on 13 felony charges in Fulton County. That's 13 out of 91 individual charges against him right now in total. 13 in Fulton County, 4 in the federal election case, 40 in the classified documents case, just because of the number of documents, 34 in the New York one for falsifying business records. And what's important here is that no federal pardon works for Trump in this case, because it's a state case. And in Georgia, they have previously stripped the governor of the power to pardon as well. So that also makes it more difficult for Trump, because say there was some, you know, far right governor who wanted to do so, they wouldn't have that power. The power that they do have, though, and we'll get into this definitely with Jamel, is that Fani Willis is in jeopardy of being ousted from office because Brian Kemp signed a law in May allowing for a basically politicized body to oust prosecutors if they are not sufficiently tough on crime, even if they're democratically elected. And this is just like a Republican playbook now to look, you know, tough on crime and to target oftentimes non-white reformer prosecutors throughout the state if they choose to maybe not, you know, warehouse people and lock them up with
it's like Willie Horton sort of policy.
Right. And now it can, and I'm not sure what the intention was from Kemp's end, but he signed it and they have fast tracked it. So it is supposedly going into effect on October 1st. So they could potentially try to get her out of office in retaliation for choosing to go and prosecute Donald Trump. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Just something to monitor. Here is the 91 count charged in total. Donald Trump speaking to reporters after he surrendered to authorities at the Fulton County Jail. And a reminder that apparently he tried to orchestrate this so this would happen basically in prime time for the news cycle. So he still has that that mentality, and this is what he had to say.
It's a very sad day for America. This should never happen. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others. when you have that great freedom to challenge, you have to be able to, otherwise you can have very dishonest elections. What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows it. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones, too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. And this is one instance, but you have 3 other instances. It's election interference. So I want to thank you for being here. We did nothing wrong at all, and we have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think is very dishonest. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Back to Bedminster. You did challenge the election, and you lost those multiple court challenges. And then you went around that and with the rest of your co-conspirators, cooked up a scheme that would submit fake electors, aka fake vote totals, to the official count in order to install yourself in power. That is not what Hillary Clinton did when she talked about Russian interference in the election. Even if it was overblown and a way to deflect blame from her loss, that is not the same. That is the actual free speech protection there. She can say whatever the hell she wants. She could have said Russia changed the vote totals and she still would not have been prosecuted because that's the free speech protection. She would have been prosecuted if she chose to go around the process and ask the electors to change the results that they were tabulating and submitting.
Yeah.
That's the fraud. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, the difference was also that with regards to the electoral college thing, it's people were trying to change that, not to commit fraud and say oh, there's something fishy about this election, but to say hey, maybe we should go with the popular vote instead of with
this convoluted
sort of old system.
Yes.
That's a completely different political project that doesn't involve calling people up and asking them to find votes for you.
Right. And then with the Stacey Abrams case, there was legitimate, I think, accusations there because the guy she was running against, the current, or Brian Kemp, right, the current governor of Georgia, was in charge of the electoral process at that time in his capacity as, was it Secretary of State or Attorney General? Secretary of State. So, I mean, it just, and Stacey Abrams, once that challenge concluded, went away and
looking for votes?
Yeah, she did not. She did not do that. She did not call and pressure people as a part of a criminal scheme. And so the free speech argument, that's all they've got, honestly. And it's just silly because even, I said this before when we went through the Jack Smith federal indictment, it on the second page goes to great lengths to say Trump had the right to lie. He had the right to say whatever the hell he wanted. He had the right to challenge all of these results in the courts. What he did not have the right to do is to try to, the first prong of that, at least in the federal indictment, is pressure Mike Pence. And then the one that's a little more relevant here is try to pressure either state legislatures or the electors to change the results of what they had tabulated. And so it is laughable for me. I mean, it's hard to see how at least one of the 2 election cases does not end in a conviction. I don't understand, based on the evidence in front of us, how that changes or how he's going to weasel out of this. But at the same time, I don't want to count my chickens before,
I'm not protecting court cases.
Yeah, we can't. Even one where we have much more of the available facts than we would in, say, a standard case.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I don't treat these things as if they are rational processes.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, you can predict it based on what we know, but we'll see.
This is a good day. I mean, and hey, not a mass incarceration fan over here, right?
Or a mugshot fan.
Because those are used often they ruin people's lives,
yes,
right?
We should completely, if Trump wants to get behind an effort to reform how we use public mugshots to shame people and how it has negative cultural effects, I'm not going to hold my.
Well, he actually, I think, loves the mugshot. He just used it to.
No, I know exactly, but I'm saying people that are acting like this is some sort of. It was bad that he was making, Ben Shapiro said, it was completely unreasonable that he was made to have a mugshot. He's one of the most photographed people. It's it would be unreasonable if you didn't make him go through awful process that we make everybody else
Yeah.
that we over police in this country go through.
Yeah. So, really incredible moment and a good one, just to wrap up my thoughts here, because if we want this to be a functional society, this kind of accountability is necessary and long overdue. We should have prosecuted George W. Bush and Dick Cheney for war crimes. And we had Nancy Pelosi leading the Democratic Party at the time, basically saying, let's turn the page. Obama turned the page. And I mean, we turned the page on Iran-Contra with Reagan. We turned the page by not prosecuting, Ford did by not prosecuting Nixon, and more. We have, unfortunately, in this country, a long history of...
I mean, there's also strikes with the Democratic presidents we should take a look at.
True. Right. Exactly. Obama assassinated a United States citizen. That should have been a criminal probe, but we did not do that, because despite all of our high, lofty opinions of the American justice system, in fact, our track record is one of allowing powerful people to get away with things. But there's no higher crime to this country than trying to overturn the election and remain in power in spite of the popular will of the people. So sure, the documents case, the New York hush money, case, great. But the stuff about the crimes against democracy, this is where the heart of the issue is. Yeah,
I agree. I think this sort of thing, the whole, like, if they can do this to a president, they can do this. Like, we know we cage more people in this country than any others. But he should be treated like Jeanine Áñez in Bolivia. Like, anybody who does, these are crimes against democracy, and we do need to have, like, anybody. And to me, it's like, as somebody who, like, has long cared about free speech, I was like a big index on censorship person before I was a socialist in college. Like, I value those principles, but you have to, I think you can't talk about them without talking about how they're being used as a Trojan horse for, like, complete, like, world historical anti-democratic sort of attempts.